and Joseph is taken down to Egypt. Reuben returns to try to rescue Joseph, but it's too late. And the brothers then add sin to sin by arranging this deception by which the coat is dipped in blood to give the appearance that Joseph has been torn apart by wild beasts. They don't actually say this has happened, but they leave Jacob to come to that conclusion. Think about what they're doing. They're actually working towards lying and murdering, two characteristics of the evil one, which Jesus spoke about in the New Testament. And it says then that Jacob tears his clothes in mourning and refuses to be comforted. His favorite son has now been killed. His favorite wife, Rachel, has died. Jacob is in deep mourning and refuses to be comforted. It says his brothers, all the sons and his daughters tried to comfort him. Just think about that for a moment. Benjamin didn't know what had happened. The daughter didn't know what had happened. They could offer some legitimate comfort. Could the other brothers offer any legitimate comfort? No way. They knew what had happened. They were lying and they were deceiving, and they were responsible for what had happened. So their words of comfort are empty. They're hypocrisy. And think about this also for the next several years, in fact 20 years altogether. They will be knowing in their hearts that they had done this to their brother and they had lied to their father about it, and therefore they were under this terrible burden of guilt. Imagine how that must have felt. Cover up. What if one of them spilt the beans and actually let out what had really happened? So there'd be bad relationships not just between them and their father, but also between each other. And you can see just how this was a sin which was be weighing upon their consciences and would be a burden which they would have to carry for the next 20 years, as I say, before they met with Joseph. And it would cause a great cloud of guilt and grief to fall on the family. And the principle is, of course, that sin separates us from God, separates us from one another. Psalm 32, it says, "Blessed is he whose transgression is forgiven, whose sin is covered. Blessed is the man to whom the Lord does not impute iniquity, and in whose spirit there is no deceit. When I kept silent, my bones grew old through my groaning all the day long. For day and night your hand was heavy upon me. My vitality was turned into the drought of summer. I acknowledged my sin to you, and my iniquity I have not hidden. I said, I will confess my transgressions to the Lord, and you forgave the iniquity of my sin." All those years when they were not enough acknowledging their transgression, the sin must have been very heavy upon them. And God has actually had a program to arrange this circumstances in which that barrier could be removed through repentance and reconciliation.